Every breath you take in a polluted environment isn't just a threat to your lungs, it's a direct assault on your brain. The idea that what we breathe somehow stays localized in the chest is a comforting delusion. In reality, air pollution doesn't just make you cough, it quietly infiltrates your bloodstream, spreads systemically, and ultimately seeps into your central nervous system, where it begins the slow process of corrosion. This isn't just a passive exposure. It's a full-body invasion, with the brain as one of the most vulnerable targets. The pathway is deceptively simple. Inhale, lungs, bloodstream,
Brain.
but the consequences are anything but simple. The lungs are merely the entry point, the soft front door through which particulate matter, volatile organic compounds, heavy metals, and other airborne neurotoxins enter the body. Once inhaled, these particles bypass your first line of defense, the mucus and cilia designed to trap larger debris. Fine particulate matter like PM2.5, particles less than 2.5 microns in diameter, is so small that it evades these defenses with ease, burrowing deep into the alveoli, the tiny air sacs responsible for oxygen exchange. And from there, things get worse. Once inside the alveoli, these microscopic invaders pass directly into the pulmonary capillaries, the dense network of blood vessels that move oxygen into the bloodstream. But alongside that oxygen now comes arsenic, lead, diesel exhaust, and hundreds of other invisible threats. These toxins hitch a ride through your vascular system, traveling with your red blood cells like stowaways on a hijacked train. They don't stop at the lungs. They don't even slow down. They travel through the heart, get pumped into every organ system, and eventually breach the blood-brain barrier, the biological gatekeeper meant to protect the central nervous system from dangerous intruders. But like any barrier, it has its vulnerabilities. Chronic exposure to air pollution has been shown to weaken the blood-brain barrier, increasing its permeability. Over time, these pollutants simply slip through, triggering inflammation, oxidative stress, and immune activation inside the brain itself. This is how neurodegeneration begins quietly, almost politely, in people who never smoked a cigarette and have no family history of brain disease. Studies have found that even in young adults, chronic exposure to polluted air correlates with reduced white matter integrity, the brain's communication cables. In older adults, it accelerates brain aging, shrinks key memory regions like the hippocampus, and increases the accumulation of amyloid plaques associated with Alzheimer's. And it doesn't take a lifetime of exposure. Even short-term pollution spikes have been linked to increased hospital visits for stroke, cognitive dysfunction, and mood disorders. A single week of breathing in elevated PM2.5 levels can impair working memory, decision-making, and emotional regulation. You don't need a decade in a smoggy city. You just need a few bad months. But the more frightening pathway may not even go through the bloodstream. Emerging evidence shows that ultrafine particles may travel directly to the brain via the olfactory nerve, bypassing the lungs and blood entirely. Inhaled through the nose, these particles pass through the nasal cavity and access the brain via the olfactory bulb. This backdoor entry is particularly sinister because it's faster, harder to block, and directly targets areas of the brain involved in memory, smell, and emotional processing, all of which are early casualties in dementia and depression. So while we debate whether a little smog is really that bad, it's already at work, setting off silent inflammation, damaging cerebral blood vessels, and interfering with neurotransmitter systems that regulate everything from memory to mood. Your breath, once a symbol of life, becomes a delivery system for cognitive erosion. There's no internal alarm system for this process. No sharp pain to warn you. No sudden symptom that screams, your brain is under chemical siege. Instead, it shows up as brain fog, as forgetfulness, as irritability, then maybe as confusion, disorientation, or a delayed dementia diagnosis. By then, the pathway from lungs to brain has already been paved, and you've been traveling it for years without even knowing. We've long accepted that smoking cigarettes damages the brain. We treat that as personal choice. But air pollution offers no such autonomy. You don't choose to breathe it. You just do. And with each breath in a polluted environment, you may be unknowingly participating in the slow unraveling of your own cognitive future. The most devastating part? This is all preventable. Cleaner air, stricter emissions controls, and greener urban planning could cut off this toxic supply chain at its source. But instead, We continue to design cities where the fastest route from pollution to brain damage is also the most traveled: your lungs, your bloodstream, your mind.